First and foremost, man, congratulations on everything. You've been grinding. You've been killing it.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
And you started off when you were 15, throwing music up on.
Melly had his first court hearing today, gearing up for his big trial in September. The new judge seemed shocked when he realized just how long Melly has been stuck behind bars without a trial. Melly walked into the courtroom looking frustrated, rocking a new hairstyle, and honestly, he had every reason to be upset, but we'll get to that in a second. As the judge went through the case files, he paused when he saw how much time Melly had already spent locked up. He made it clear that Melly needs to decide who he wants as his lawyers, stressing how important it is for him to have the right defense team after being in jail for so long. It's clear this case has dragged on, and you can feel the tension building. Melly has been stuck in jail for a shocking 2,159 days, and when the judge brought it up, it left everyone in the courtroom, including Melly, stunned. The judge addressed him directly, saying, Mr. Demons needs to make a clear choice about who will represent him as his attorneys. He's already been in custody for over 2,100 days. How much longer does he need to decide? The judge continued, I can't control how long the investigation takes. That's up to the sheriff's office, but I can give a deadline. You have until tomorrow to decide on your legal team, and I've set aside the entire day to make sure this matter gets settled. The pressure is clearly building as Melly faces the critical decision of choosing the right lawyers after spending so long behind bars. The judge was shocked to find out Melly had been in jail for over 2,100 days without a conviction. Clearly frustrated, he said, give me one last reason why he shouldn't be released by tomorrow or I'll grant him bond. This was exactly the break Melly needed, as the new judge seemed determined to be fair instead of favoring the prosecution. To strengthen his chances, Melly's lawyers brought up key evidence from the original trial. They showed text messages Melly had sent to his ex-girlfriend during the exact time of the incident, proving he was messaging her while running away from the men involved. This evidence could be a turning point in proving Melly's innocence as the case continues to unfold. That would be the part of he's saying that someone just the car up and was trying to them. So I asked him if he was okay where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some, there's some, I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Say and Jewy? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're proving Melly was being chased by a car with rival street members in it. But also in the Melly trial, prosecutors admitted there was no firearm found. So the first thing I didn't have, so I can't know which I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for Fashion because I don't know what was used to understand Melly's release. You need to understand why they finally pushing the release talks through court. Bowie revealed the feds are doing whatever they want with Melly, whether it's legal or not, but it seems they've been caught. They're piling even more charges on him now. When the system sets its sights on someone, they don't stop. I realized just how determined they were when they waited for a new law to pass, the one that changed the jury rule to allow convictions with an 8-4 vote instead of a unanimous decision. They held off on his trial until the law was in place. Didn't get a BN after a missed TR. Yeah, that made me like, goddamn. Yeah, like after a missed TR, that doesn't happen really. This has been Melly's reality for the last 5 years, with the feds being able to do anything they want to him, which is why Melly's mother is now suing the county jail to have her son released from jail. A report shares Melly sues Broward Sheriff's Office for cruel treatment and is seeking immediate release from prison. Melly also claims that they have not. He had already been stuck in jail for 2, maybe 3 years. They could have taken him to trial much earlier, but chose to wait. As soon as the law changed, they moved quickly, taking him to court just months later. It's clear when they want to take someone down, they go all out. It's hard to imagine how he could get a fair shot with everything stacked against him like this. Charleston White had a strong reaction to this, saying that Melly shouldn't be getting any special treatment. He feels that this is the way Melly should be treated, even if he's a well-known figure. It's tough to imagine going through all of that, but this situation is sparking a lot of debates about fairness and rights in the system. Treatment, even the YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a mothering thing, about being mistreated when you done chose to play. Somebody that's made Melly's mother extremely unhappy, Jamie King, reveals she feels heartbroken and helpless as Melly's not even being treated as a human in jail. When you saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life as a mother, how did that make you feel? It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules, and I don't think that's fair. Because I know that they need to answer to someone too. This would get the attention of Boozy, who would speak on the stress Jimmy King's been going through. She real, bro. You know, she stressed out. I heard she had she real, and I reached my hand out to him. Cause I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom and she a good woman, but the feds would retaliate by creating a 6-page evidence file explaining reasons why Melly shouldn't be released. Let's break this down. Should Melly be released from jail given everything that's happening? The big thing to pay attention to now is new evidence which might change everything. Melly was really close with King Von and that connection is important in this case. A former member of O Block revealed something. Melly had spoken to King Von about a situation with people like Sack Chaser and Juvie. Melly went to King Von for advice on how to handle things. While Von didn't outright say anything, he dropped hints, making it clear he knew what was going on, but didn't say it directly. The way that conversation happened makes people think that Von understood things without saying it outright. This new info could show us a whole different side of the story and change how people view the case. He told me, like, once I posted what I posted, he Van was mad at me, bro. Why you put there, bro, the bam? I'm like, you sitting up here like, you know the love we got, you do this for us, but you going to trust that his 2 friends, and he said was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why you still around them, involving Sack Chaser and Juvie going after Melly for financial gain, as it's a registered business where Melly and Borland performed concerts, sold merchandise, and did promotions for companies in exchange for money. However, Sack Chaser and Juvie wanted a cut of the money but did zero work for it. But if you know about King Von's past and how he handled situations, you can guess how V would have told Melly to handle it. This was the missing piece of evidence the prosecutors missed during the original trial, which is a motive. Pair this with evidence found on Melly's phone, and it gets bad, where he sent a text message hours after the crime admitting to him the PZ Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, I did that, and placed a smiley face emoji. And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 1602 from U Eastern Standard Time, the YNW Melly count says, what? After that SHHHH, but also found on Melly's phone was a saved video from someone's Facebook Live. It shows Melly and band's reaction to the crime only 6 hours after it was done. Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still ICH, being very positive, turn, still hey, but do still turn regardless of what. Alright, so here's the scoop. Melly's emotional reaction, or lack of one, was a major talking point. There wasn't much sadness coming from him about the deaths of his 2 best friends, which definitely raised some red flags. But things got even more intense when the prosecutor started diving into the physical evidence. They took a close look at the Jeep that was used during the crime, and the details were eye-opening. Sergeant Williams stepped in and pointed out something pretty crucial. This couldn't have been a drive-by shooting, like some people originally thought. He broke down the evidence, mentioning there were 17 bullet holes on the outside of the car, but only 3 rounds inside the car. What did that mean? It meant the bullets didn't come from outside. This was a much more personal situation. The prosecutor and defense both had to look at this and ask themselves, what does this new info really mean for the case? Things definitely weren't as simple as they seemed. From the past, the driver's side back seat. As to Christopher Thomas, where did that driver's side back seat? Is it possible for there to have been 2 inside that car? No. Why not? There is no time assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive, and my determination was that this is not a drive-by, and it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are done. One is done at a stationary position, is at a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in the one round that has some movement in it, which is around site L here. The actually moving in that, with Williams revealing the crime must have happened inside of the vehicle during the Melly trial. We then saw Juvie's mother go on the stand and share who was sitting there. Can you state your name? You'll fly your name for the I'm Lil okay. And are you related to one of the, in this case, yes I am. How? I'm his mother. And who is that? Christopher Thomas. Miss Phillips. Did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that GR grade Jeep? Yes. Do you recognize where your son entered that GR? Yes. Which seat, if you can identify for the jury? He got in the back seat on the right hand side. Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side? Yes. And who was that individual? Jay. However, to extend the time to file why Melly has to stay in jail, they bought time for themselves by throwing Melly's partner Borland into jail. Melly's co-defendant YNW Borland was booked. Corlin Henry, also known as Borton, was arrested on Monday night and is now in a Miami jail. The arrest comes after an outstanding warrant was issued for him in Broward County for witness tampering. The details of the warrant, obtained by Long Crime Network, paint a serious picture of the situation. From April 10th to July 22nd, 2023, Henry, along with others, is accused of trying to mislead a person with the intention of getting them to withhold important testimony. We're sitting with a description of what they look like to understand how serious this is. Here's academics' reaction to keep it real. This is sloppy Portland, how you going to have the notebook of the jurors in your house. Holy, she like come the on it. It's like doing and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. I mean, like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of is in your DVD play. Be like, oh, okay. Chances. Melly's lawyers brought up key evidence from the original trial. They showed text messages Melly had sent to his ex-girlfriend during the exact time of the incident, proving he was messaging her while running away from the men involved. This evidence could be a turning point in proving Melly's innocence as the case continues to unfold. That would be the part of he's saying that someone just the car up and was trying to them. So I asked him if he was okay where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some, there's some, I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Say and Jewy? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're proving Melly was being chased by a car with rival street members in it. But also in the Melly trial, prosecutors admitted there was no firearm found. So the first thing I didn't have, so I can't know which I'm going to use. The warrant also explains that this individual was directly involved in the case, and the actions were aimed at preventing them from speaking out. This case is now gaining more attention as the legal process unfolds, and many are eager to see what happens next in this developing story. What do you think about the situation? Summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamal Demons aka YNW Melly, the dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd. The same day, the warrant claims Borland allegedly tampered with a witness. Band's house was raided by the feds and they found paperwork stuffed into a suitcase. A report reads, here are the images of alleged notes discovered during the home raid of Band's home as Borland details where certain jurors. So here's the twist, things just got even more complicated for Melly and his associate Borland. Imagine this: if Melly were handed a life sentence, Borland could have easily passed this crucial piece of information to some serious figures from the streets looking for revenge. But that's not where it ends. Now there are even more charges coming their way. Melly and Borland, along with 2 others, are now facing 6 new charges. What kind of charges, you ask? Well, they're looking at tampering with a witness, directing criminal activities, conspiring to tamper with evidence, and even unlawfully using a 2-way communication device. This isn't looking good for them, right? The pressure's mounting and the legal situation is getting even more intense. With all this going on, what do you think is going to happen next? Will they be able to fight through this, or is the legal system closing in on them? Let's keep the conversation going. Some of these new charges could result in a life sentence if they lead to a conviction. These charges stem from a huge mistake Melly and Borland made, something that really turned the case on its head. Juvy's father stepped up and exposed how the two had been tampering with witnesses, specifically targeting Melly's ex-girlfriend to stop her from testifying against him in the original trial. It gets even crazier. Melly, who wasn't allowed to use a phone, found a way to communicate secretly. He wasn't just sending messages directly, he was passing notes to people and then they'd pass them along to others. It was like a game of telephone, and through this elaborate system, he tried to orchestrate what happened next. This kind of communication could come back to haunt him in the worst way possible. The question is, will this secret network be enough to change everything in this case? To me, it seems like they were going to extreme lengths to try and cover up or convince people not to testify, people like Mariah and her mom. They were using code words referring to Rihanna and Adala Ape Rocky's baby mama as part of their strategy. But Melly's lawyers are ready to fight back. They plan to challenge the evidence submitted by the prosecutors, building a strong case that Melly's retrial isn't happening anytime soon. According to reports, Melly's double murder retrial is set for September 2025. Melly's mother, Jamie King, even spoke outside the courthouse, expressing her hope and belief in his eventual freedom, saying, Melly too, he's free despite everything going on. It's clear that this case is far from over, and both sides are gearing up for what's ahead. The question is, will Melly and his team be able to turn things around in the coming years? Only time will tell. Coming home, guys, just patience. So we did have court today. Him and Bort, they both had court, and so basically the judge put a new trial date in for September 10th of 2025. Please make it make sense. I don't know at this point. They need to just dismiss the case. Yeah, he still doesn't have phone calls, still no visitation. He's still in the new facility all alone by himself, no contact. He's not allowed to have contact with any other inmates. They move him around with several guards. It's like something you never